Welcome to the RPG Podcast.
And we are live.
Oh, God, Patton!
Presented by SHEATH. A Time Wheel production.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Robert Patton Global Podcast. I am excited to be here with a longtime friend and acquaintance. Been working with SHEATH for a long time, David Acosta. Thank you for joining me.
Hey man, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day here in Colorado.
It is starting to get pretty cold.
It's gonna snow on next Tuesday, so my pot plants that I have growing in the sun are gonna need to be covered up with like a greenhouse in the next I have like 3 days to get that done.
No, I'm the exact same way. I have some plants growing on my balcony, and I'm already like trying to figure it out because I'm a little bit west of you, and it says like a low of 29 on Tuesday. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It goes from 80 to 30 here in Woodland Park. So you're a little bit more in the mountains, I guess, because we're pretty in the mountains too here.
Yeah,
but you're a little bit more. So
no, yeah, it's nice, man. It was a good move moving out here for myself. So it was good.
You moved from Texas, right?
Yep, Houston, Texas.
Yay, H-Town. Well,
Yeah.
I was supposed to be there in a couple of days for Skankfest, which was canceled, and that reminds me, for like the 5th time, I need to write this down. I got to cancel my plane ticket and my Airbnb, or I'm gonna lose it pretty soon. Everything is so crazy, but for a lot of people that don't know, let me just tell them that you are a former fighter. I'm assuming it's kind of in the past now.
Yeah, as of now, I haven't fought or competed in jiu-jitsu in about a year and a half.
Right. And now I know you guys have Dave Times2, your gaming channel, and she supports it. Shout out to sheathunderwear.com. But how's that going?
It's going it's going really good, honestly. Since like putting fighting down, and whenever I stepped away from fighting on a competitive level, and then I stepped away from jiu-jitsu on a competitive level, I was still teaching. So I was teaching jiu-jitsu, and once I was able to step away from all of that and like dedicate 100% of my time towards the channel, we hit like last November, it really just took off, and ever since, there hasn't been a month that it hasn't grown. It's been fast paced.
What's your growth rate? Just, this is like some technical talk, but what, like, because we double every year as a company, SHEATH. So
yeah. No, yeah. Twitch is primarily about viewer count, how many people are watching your show live, and then how many people are watching, just like anything, like Instagram clips or YouTube content. It's
Nice.
all about views. So right now we're averaging just like right under what you have to get partnered on the platform. So
Nice.
partnered means that you're kind of like verified on the platform, kind of like a Twitter check mark or Instagram check mark or something. So we're just shy of that. We're about 5 to 6 average viewers underneath it.
Wow.
So we're and considering that last August we were maybe 10 to 20, 10 to 15 maybe even viewers. We've skyrocketed up there, and it's become something that we were doing to kind of experiment with and see if we can catch some traction, to now it's everything I do. It's a full-time job. Now it's just everything. So as of now, that's the next goal. The next goal is to get partnered on the platform so the platform can start helping us get even bigger. So it's going really well, man. We do it 3 times a week now, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday mornings, and there isn't a morning that we don't go live, and immediately there's tons of people in there chatting, and as of now, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Beautiful. Yeah. Did COVID help with viewership?
We did have spikes for it.
Okay.
But the realism of Twitch is that with any social platform, for the most part at least, is the clientele is the majority 18 and under. So 80% of Twitch is 18 and under. So these you know, you have these kids that I find it that it did help, but these kids that are either in school, they all have iPhones nowadays,
Right.
and they're like, I have kids literally watching the show sitting in a classroom in their school, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
with like headphones on or something, you know, and I don't condone it, but I definitely appreciate it, you know.
Yeah, pay attention to your class.
Yeah.
It's so crazy right now because now everyone's doing, like Zoom school, and so they're gonna have to be streaming the class and streaming your cast simultaneously. That,
Yeah,
but I
no.
hear they have to sit there anyways. I mean, I have this kid that comes and works at the house with me here, and he has school till 4, and he's like, you just have to sit there, even if they're not teaching. You have to stay in front of the computer, which is pretty lame.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Honestly, my baby David right now, he's 5. He's sitting on the island in my kitchen right now, going to school in kindergarten
Oh my God.
with 14 other 5-year-olds that are trying to sit in front of an iPad. You know, so it is just absolute chaos.
Yeah, I don't love that. I don't
y-
love that.
yeah, me and my wife literally talked about it. We're just like, let's just let him do it so he can get the credit for going to kindergarten, so he's not a year behind next year or something.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of the only reason.
Yeah, because it seems almost fruitless, like the benefit is gonna be very minor because what do you really get out of kindergarten if you're not playing with other kids?
Yeah, social interaction is
Yeah.
super important at that age, and he's not getting it. So, but he has a sister. They talk and chit chat and play all day, but it's just a little bit different to do it on a learning scale. But yeah.
Yeah. So you're not fighting, but anymore. But do you keep up with any of the training, any of the guys from Alpha Male or?
So I still keep in contact with everyone. Like I still text and social, like Instagram message everybody, and especially like with like Uriah Faber, having 2 kids now. Danny Castillo having his first kid, and you have Cody Garbrandt that had his first one not too long ago.
I was so happy when Cody won again because he was looking like 3 losses in a row, like 3 knockouts, I think, and then to come back and win against a Sun Sao who is not a a
Slouch at
chump.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure. So
now fighting for the 125 title.
fuck yeah. I hope he gets it because he's I love Team Alpha Male. I love just the team aspect of it all, and there's something great about the camaraderie of fighting. I've joined a gym here, not well, it was right before COVID. I joined Victory MMA here in Colorado Springs, coached by Gilbert Smith, who was on The Ultimate Fighter a couple times, and he actually made it to the UFC, but he didn't come out victorious. But he's parlaying that experience into, he's a great coach. He's kind of like militant about it. He was in the army, I was in the army, and I like that type of training style where it's not okay, whatever, like real soft on you. He's like,
No, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, get to the
No,
point.
a lot of gyms are becoming that, especially as the popularity of MMA goes up. You're finding more gyms open up for the pure sake of profiting off of the popularity of it. So that means they're putting in, Joe Smo as the coach, and it's the softest, most, kind of like this online kindergarten. you know,
Yeah.
it's like I guess we're going to kindergarten, but are we going to kindergarten? Are we doing anything?
Is this real?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like virtual training. It's not real. It's almost, it's like
Yeah.
a derivative, if you will. But I've since COVID happened, I stopped going, and then I moved to Woodland Park, and I'm having one of his students, Dylan King, I think he turned professional. He's like he was 3-0, but he went up a weight class and lost, and so now I guess he's 3-1. But
Yeah.
he comes up to the house and trains, and it's mostly the cardio part, which like running up hills, jump rope, push-ups, all the different drills, and then the last 15 minutes we'll either hit pads or I got to roll with him. Shout out to Origin Maine Jiu-Jitsu gi making, Jocko Willink. I got one of his gis and finally got to use it.
Nice.
So
It's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, I put on a gi one time in the last year. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and that's because my wife is she works with law enforcement. So, they ask about, what does your husband do? Blah, blah, blah. So she, eventually told them what I used to do for a living. And then, they were looking for a jujitsu kind of like a guy to kind of walk them through things or teach them stuff.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I put it on one time to kind of meet up with them and train with them for a little bit.
One time. You should be doing that once a week. At
See,
least.
no, it's one of those things where either their scheduling doesn't work with my scheduling or what's going on. Cause like, I think that's the biggest misconception is like with like the Twitch channel. Like the Twitch channel, like last year was like barely bringing in anything. And then this year we're like close to 6 figures with a Twitch channel. You know what I mean? And
Wow. Yeah. And just shout out Sheath sponsors. We just came on like as an official sponsor. Like I know we were always pretty unofficial, or but now we're like actually throwing up a couple bucks, so that's cool.
No, yeah, it's a nice thing to do, but I think I think that's the biggest misconception is like the time, like when I'm live for 5 to 6 hours 3 days a week, and
Whoa.
but then when I'm not live, there's so much work that gets put into the production and the video edits and trying to create content and on individual platforms like YouTube and even like TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. And that stuff takes all day. So it's like I just have not got the time to like, even though like I'm just streaming, I haven't got the time to do anything else.
Yeah, people think like my family in general, like they think I don't do shit.
Yeah.
But I'm doing stuff all day, every day. There's not a moment of the day that goes by where I'm not doing, even when I'm resting, like that's kind of scheduled because I have to stay going. It's like a long marathon. And even if I'm playing video games, I'm like, this is my time to unwind. And actually, I take that back. I'm going to reverse that. I don't unwind on video games. It actually pumps me up. Like first thing in the morning, I get up and I'll play for like half an hour to an hour, some Call of Duty with some coffee.
Yeah.
And I'm like groggy, but by the time somebody sneaks up on me and pops me in the ear, now I'm awake. I get that, you get that little rush from playing. So
no, yeah, for sure. That's what working out for me is today. Like I get, an hour a day, where I can escape from the kids, escape from being a husband, escape for the content creation stuff, and just get on my bike and I just ride and kill myself for an hour. Ooh. And it has nothing to do with physical fitness, but it has everything. Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is the anti, jump off my balcony, plan. Like it's like
mental health.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's you're trying to juggle everything at once, and it's whatever that fill in the blank thing is. If you take an hour a day just to not think about it, it definitely helps for me personally, at least.
So that's your tool that you go to is the bike.
Yeah. With jiu-jitsu and MMA and punching and all that, there's so many injuries, like with my hands, my elbows.
Oh my God, tell me about it. I was in the Army. Yeah. So and I can't run anymore. But what kind of bike are you using?
So I have a road bike, and just living in Colorado is just beautiful, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
There's trails everywhere, and there's beautiful trails everywhere. So there's trails literally leaving my front door. There's my back door. There's a hiking trail. So I go out and I'll ride. If I ride indoors, I ride on a Peloton bike, like a stationary bike.
Look at you, fancy.
But then if I go outside, I have a Z100 road bike that I'll take out.
But if you're but I don't like that because the cars going by and like, you know what I mean? Like I think, and because I just bought one like last year, I rode it 3 times and I ended up selling it a couple weeks ago because now I'm in the mountains and I think I'm going to get a mountain bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. The only good thing, at least here, is like there's there's a trail from where I live to Eagle, which is like 32 miles away. If you know where the city of Eagle is.
Right.
And it goes up like from where I'm at like 7,000 in elevation. Eagle goes up to like 12.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. And there's a 32-mile trail that goes all the way to Eagle and all the way back. And that's no car, no stop sign, no nothing. There's a bike trail dedicated to
Wow.
cyclists, and
Wow.
you're right along the river. So it's a beautiful time, you know. So I think maybe we just got to hunt some good trails down.
True.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'll average 30-35 miles per hour on that trail the entire way, you know, because there's no reason to stop. You know.
Oh my God, how fun. Okay, so that's way better than my experience. I was just always paranoid about cars creeping up on me and
No, for sure.
yeah, that's and you know, and now that you mention it, and now I feel kind of silly that I just sold that bike, but there is a trail here, and I guess it's a paved trail that just goes forever.
Yeah, it seems like they go forever, right? You're like,
Yeah,
when is this gonna stop? But
interesting. Okay, well maybe I'll buy another one. And I was gonna buy a mountain bike, but I went to the shop and he said like all the mountain bikes in the whole world are sold out
dude,
because
yeah,
of COVID or whatever.
yeah, they can't get them shipped. They can't get them
Yeah.
shipped in. Yeah,
Isn't that crazy? That sounds like an exaggeration, but I was like, but you can buy them like used and stuff from like Facebook Marketplace and stuff.
yeah, you can buy them used. Like I tried to buy a mountain bike maybe like 3 months ago,
Hmm.
and he was like, "Yeah," and we were like, we can't guarantee any kind of time frame on it. He's like, "You can purchase it, we can try to order it, and we can get it. Well, who knows?" And we're just like, I'm not giving you a few $1,000s for no to not know.
Hell yeah, how funny.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good, man.
Yeah,
So
I have a Haro. I have a BMX Haro. Dave Mira. Dave Mira. Do you know who that was?
yeah. I used to play his video games when I was little.
He was the shit.
Dude,
That's
yeah.
why I got that bike because of him. And then he fucking killed himself.
It's crazy, man. Mental health. We're just
I
talking
know.
about it.
Well, okay, so let's go on that train of thought for a minute. We work with this company or person initiative Into the Dark Blue, which is a men's mental health movement. Zach, and he is going from town to town, hitting bars to spread the word about kind of mental health awareness and to erase the stigma behind going and seeing a therapist. Just I do see a therapist I was doing it every week. Now I'm kind of like every other week.
Oh, I live with a
But
therapist. I get it.
oh, you live with a therapist?
Yeah, my wife.
Okay, so I didn't know if she was an actual like patrol person or what her role was in that,
Yeah,
profession.
she's technically she's a emergency response therapist. So she responds to a emotional crisis, kind of like the police. So the police will
Wow.
respond to something if there's someone that's having like mental issues, or there's a situation like domestic violence or something like
Mhm.
that. They may require someone to set up some sort of plan for said person that maybe was abused, or maybe
Mhm.
that is contemplating suicide, or whatever that is. She's the person that reports to the scene with the police, and she'll set up a plan to either hospitalize them, or set up a plan for them to make an appointment to see a therapist, or whatever the fill in the blank is. So
Mm.
she's been doing that since we've been in Colorado for about a year and a half.
Wow, I bet you guys have had some interesting discussions about the psychology of people, like, with everything happening with, like, police shootings and these types of things, which I just wanna say I do support the police things. But anyways,
No, yeah, I'm on the same page, man. I just think I think that there's crappy people in every field,
yeah, and then
and
there's
I
always those crazy, just the crazy, like, yeah,
yeah,
crazy
I mean,
people.
for instance, like in this situation, there's probably hundreds and hundreds of horrible podcasts. That doesn't mean we need to think that your podcast is horrible. You know,
Right. Yeah,
same concept.
and there's just gonna be bad apples in every group. They're not gonna
100%.
ever get away from that, and so I try to just be optimistic about kind of like where they're coming from, and hope like that they don't just come out with bad intentions, and I don't think that they do, and I think it's sad what's happening, but now I guess it's coming back around, with all the riots, and now people are like, maybe we don't really need to defund the police.
Yeah. No,
So
I know if anything ever happened, they're going to be the people that I call. So I'm gonna,
yeah,
so I'm gonna go ahead and support them to the end, because I know whenever I need the support, I'm gonna be calling one person. So
yeah, and I've had many run-ins, and they were not pleasant. I will not lie. I mean, I've been arrested more than 5 times, And since I was a juvenile till not that long ago, you'd be surprised, I was still the CEO of Sheath, and I've been arrested quite a few times since then, just for weed, but like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
never a fun experience. And I mean, I've been taken to jail, and fucking my daughter ripped away from my arms, if you would, like basically
Yeah.
crying because they're like, we're taking him, and it's
Oh,
like,
no.
more weed. Are you crazy?
No.
That's why I moved to California. This was in Texas, by the way. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Colorado. That's why I moved back to Colorado.
Really? In Colorado that happened?
No. Sorry. So it happened in Texas like 3 times while I was there from like 2013 to 2015. I got arrested like 3 times in 2 years. And I was like, I think I'm going to just go to a state where it's not illegal, and plus my daughter was here and there was other extenuating circumstances, but it was, I was just like,
No, I get
yeah.
you, man. I remember, like, dude, I'm on the same boat. From MMA, I started smoking and doing like CBD products and like THC products, like maybe like halfway through my professional career, because I just could not
Pain.
rest. Not even,
Yep.
it wasn't even pain. Like my brain wouldn't shut off. Like it'd be
Okay.
2 o'clock in the morning. My brain's like churning and trying to work on something. And so I started doing it because of that. And then moving to Texas, from California to Texas, when I moved back home, I felt like a I was a horrible human being buying weed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm just trying to go to sleep, man. Like I just want to shut off before 3 a.m.
I ain't
And
trying to hurt nobody.
yeah, and you have to like do it all sketchy, and it just feels uncomfortable. So here it's nice going to a business and then buying it, paying taxes on it, going home, sitting on my balcony, knowing there's no worry in the world.
Mm.
It's just,
Mm.
yeah, it's just nice.
Yeah, I love Colorado, and like I guess they even, this is weird, decriminalized, or not, to an extent, like heroin and cocaine and all the major drugs. You would know about that, wouldn't you? If you're
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Is I hear a lot of stories because my wife's in that field.
right, right.
A lot of people aren't just. A lot of people are under the influence when they have these thoughts of mental health, and you hear a lot of stories. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Um, well, I think it's better here, and they should probably do that everywhere, because it's just like, and like with just the whole, just they need to reform that whole system, which was created to hold the black man down. And I believe that.
No,
And
yeah,
hippies
it,
and black people, they wanted to crush the movement of the people, and so they put this bullshit law in place so they can arrest anyone, I mean, for
yeah.
nonviolent shit. And so
No, it's the same thing, like we're talking about, like with like law enforcement. There's bad apples there. There's a lot of people that smoke weed and they do really stupid things, and there's a lot of people that smoke weed and just, like, I'm a father of two. I'm a husband. I like to think that I'm a very good father and husband,
yeah,
and I smoke weed every single day.
hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And I take care of my kids and I support my family, and I mind my damn business. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think that there's both sides to it, and it's silly to, you know, it's silly to treat it like it's there's people that drink alcohol, that drink and drive every day, and that's legal. So it's like, if you're really scared that people are going to hurt people on this drug, then the number one cause of death in the U.S. is, one, pain medication,
I
and then
know.
two, drunk driving, drinking, while driving. So it's like, come on, those are legal.
And it's just so silly, and so we're moving in the right direction, and that's what I try to remind people that are getting irate about the current state of the union. Like, there's chaos and racism is running rampant, and like, I'm like, I don't see any of that ever
Yeah,
when I walk outside. I got my hair braided the other day by a nice young black woman who is an entrepreneur, and we were talking about Think and Grow Rich, this book that I read when I was young, and she happened to read it, and just like motivation and aspirations, and dreams, and principles of success, and just things that we can all agree with, instead of like, why are we always looking for the differences of each other? Because you can find that all day, and we can bicker about it all day. I like we're trying not to watch the news a little bit right now because my wife and I tend to see the same thing and see a different thing, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I was telling her that, and you know, because I recognize what I was like, they're doing this on purpose. They know they'll put a topic of discussion out on the news and to divide us. I feel like, and to break up the nuclear family. I swear, it's all about control. The reptilians, they're doing it. They want to just keep us from uniting, or you know, like what's wrong with us all being on the same wavelength? I think that would disrupt the control, and I
Yeah.
think they're kind of just fucking with us sometimes. I really honestly think whoever it is, I say reptilians in jest,
Yeah.
but I think they're like so rich and so bored, and they've fucked all the little kids that they can and drank all the baby blood, and now they're like, let's throw a little bit of disarray into the community and just watch and see what happens. I don't
No,
know.
yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Just saying.
yeah. I'm to be completely honest, I'm fully aware that I'm not smart enough to figure it out.
Right.
So I am going to go on hikes. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna enjoy my family, and when I die, I die, and that's just it. Like it's just like for me, it's like I'm gonna enjoy this chaotic time, and I'm gonna keep to myself. And I moved out in the mountains of Colorado for a reason.
I know. I
You know,
moved out also in the middle of COVID. You know, we were in
us too.
suburban Colorado Springs, and my wife was just like, she had this burning kind of just like anxiety ridden desire to get out of there, and we just so happen to have the means to do it. You know, not fortunate, you know, unfortunately not everyone has that means to just pick up and leave, because some, you might say, well, why do you fucking live there if it's so bad or whatever? Go to Colorado. You know.
Man, I don't know because like whenever we and Jocelyn first moved to California, we had like, you know, like we moved, it was just like what 2014, 15 maybe. Baby David was 2 months old. We probably had like $1,000 to our name. Um, you know, and we moved out there and we just figured it out. You know, we figured it out because Houston life was not what we wanted, and we're like, let's try this city. You know, and that's when I
Mm-hmm.
met Team Alpha Male, and then I worked my ass off. Within a month, I was working at Team Alpha Male and got a job, and Jocelyn got a job, and then it worked out. We stayed there for 5 years.
Nice.
And the same thing with here, you know, in Colorado. The only reason we moved to Colorado, Fort Morgan at first, was because Jocelyn almost died 2 years ago
Oh
now.
my God, what happened?
So, well, she went to go get a allergy test. That was it. So they were testing her for
Wow.
certain things. I know they were testing her for certain things, and she had a severe reaction to one thing. It almost stopped her heart. She was in the hospital for a long time.
Wow.
The doctors were telling her like she should not have survived that experience because she's so tiny, and they had to hit her with so much adrenaline just to keep her heart going.
Oh my God.
Um, but because of that, the way Texas laws were, she lost her job. She lost everything because you're in the middle of starting her career at that point, and then she was in the hospital for a bit. She couldn't get back to work for a while, so she lost everything.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah, so that was the story. I mean, the summarized story of why we moved to Colorado. And
Mm-hmm.
then whenever she was like, "Well, I don't know what to do," she was like, "I'm better now, so let me just start applying places." And she was like, "There's a spot in Colorado that's hiring." And she applied. We flew out here. She interviewed. She got the job, and then we moved out here like 2 weeks later.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I
So you
remember
know,
you talking about that, and you were. I was kind of hoping you would be a little bit closer, but at least you're here in this state, because this is a better place, I'm sure.
yeah. So I mean, we've moved, you know, both times with almost nothing, you know, and we did it with children. The second time with two children, and like I said, man, you just hustle, you just
That's a
hustle.
good point. I guess. Okay, so okay, because yeah, I was talking about the means to do it, and you know, you there's always a way, and
Yeah,
that's a good transition into the principles of success by
dude,
Napoleon Hill. Desire, like, how bad do you want it? Do you really
that's
want it? You can do it.
yeah, dude. Especially in this. I don't mean to get too far into this. I mean, I'm just really obviously passionate about. Like this generation,
Yeah.
this generation is very, if something isn't easy or handed to them, it's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I was at least a part of the last bit of generation that was like, I gotta work very hard for $0. So in 2 years, I can have what I'm talking about today.
Hell yeah.
Because that's how it was, like with fighting, it was like that with the Twitch stream. A year ago, I couldn't make a living off this. Today, I
Right.
can. And
Yeah.
and video game streaming, there's 0.3% of all of 6.8 million streamers cannot make a living off of their craft. I am in the top 3%, top 0.3% of the entire streaming world because I'm
Nice.
able to make a living off of this stuff. And that's not because I have large viewership or I have all these subscribers. It's because I'm able to wire it all to where I educated myself about marketing and how to do it
Mm-hmm.
right and how to make views into dollars and and if I didn't sit on my computer all day looking at marketing videos or educating myself on how YouTube works versus Twitter versus Instagram versus TikTok versus all the other platforms, I would be sitting on my ass and be streaming to two people and making no money.
Interesting.
So and it was a decision to become successful in that rate.
Yeah. Do you think that your training slash, I mean, were you always like this? Because I think you wanted that for fighting, but you maybe parlayed that into gaming.
Yeah, I think the fighting attitude is the same thing, And
Yeah.
I always tell, because I do content coaching nowadays, so I charge people for to sit down for an hour and to come up with game plans to grow their channel too. So it's it's just like fighting, And I tell people like I don't just wake up one day and book a fight and then walk up to the fight and fight on national television with no training.
Mm-hmm.
So the live stream is the same thing. I don't just turn on my computer and go live and hopefully it goes good. There's 8 weeks of training camp before a fight. It's the same thing with the Twitch channel. It's just I'm sitting on my computer, editing videos or editing photos or educating myself on what the next level of marketing is going to be in 3 months so I can get ahead of the curve. And there's so much work that's involved. It really is like a 70-30 split when it comes to 30% of the work is done when you're live and people can see you. And then
Mm-hmm.
70% of the work is done when no one sees a damn thing. And it's
I
the
feel
same
like
thing.
now I wish we should have one of those consultation meetings. I know we never can like find the time to
Oh, yeah.
actually talk. This is the first time we've like taken a moment to talk. And I think anyways, I feel like we could use a little bit of consultation. We're doing really well as a company, and my brother and my team, they do fabulous. However, and you guys are listening. If you're listening, they're probably not listening. But I feel like it could do better. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because
And as we all can, right? We can
yeah,
all take it a step further and do that extra, little thing. So it's a fun process though.
yeah, So, but let's have a consultation. I'll pay you for your time. Let's do that maybe next week, and
Yeah, man.
and get that just information, because it sounds like you sat down and did the research where honestly a lot of what we do is trial and error, on the fly, like live in action. Like we
Yeah.
release a new product and it's either going to be good or it's not going to be good. Now, of course, if I think it looks stupid, I'm not going to release it. So it's got at
Yeah.
least a fighting chance, because I already say, well, I like it.
Yeah.
We did just release this new product though. Funny story. The horizontal fly. It's like this plaid,
Oh, yeah. I
um,
saw that. Yeah.
with the red and black waistband, and everyone on my team, when they found out that it was produced, so they were like, "You produced that?" I was like, "Yeah, it's here. It's in the box. It's like right there. You made it." And then I told my wife that story, and she was like, "Oh my god, you actually produced that?" Because they both thought it looked like an accident,
Yeah.
and but it's actually doing pretty well, and I thought that it was good enough. And so anyways, I don't know what the point of that story was, other than it, sometimes you just have to try it's just trying.
Dude, if I'd have more money than I do now if I had $1 for every time I trialed an error or something. So, so man, I get you, man. what I do currently is every quarter. So I treat this like a business. It's how I make a living. So every quarter is how I do things. So I test things out for 3 months. In that 3 months, I'm going to give it enough time to succeed, and I'm going to give it enough time to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And the way my system works is I work for 3 months. At the end of that 3 months, I look at my numbers. If numbers are not growing the way I want them to, I change micro changes where I change this and this and this, or I come up with a completely new plan and I revamp it for the next 3 months. And that's everything. That's the way my production is done, the way my design is done, the science behind my alerts and my camera and how I'm attracting everyone to us versus the game. And dude, there's so much that goes into this. And and it's same thing for you. I started with Sheath, what, now 6 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I'm having this flashback of you were on Dana White looking for a fight or something, and I know it
But
didn't
but
go your way. Point is, yeah, you've been with us for a while.
but even then, I was a professional then. I mean, you've been sponsoring me since my second amateur fight. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So that goes way back to 2014, 15. You know,
Do you remember
um,
how that all happened? Because people ask me how I find people, and in my recollection, it started with Gavin Tucker. And I don't know how they reached out to us, and we started sponsoring him, but immediately, like within a week or two, I think he was like questioning the product, like if it was cool enough or whatever. So they backed out, and
yeah.
then we picked up Kyle, which I don't know, and I don't even know. Did you know Kyle Nelson?
No, the only person that I knew that worked with you guys was Michael Mallet.
Oh yeah, Michael Mallet. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
and
because
that may have been through Kyle, but maybe not. Actually, I'm not sure.
yeah. So I found you guys just on, I believe it was on socials one day, and I really do think we did the like I'm pretty sure if we scroll back far enough in our Facebook messages, we'll probably
Yeah,
find those messages. You
yeah.
know,
That's funny. That's a good point.
so it's been a while. And the reason I say that is because when I think about my process, even with streaming, which is only 2 years old, um, you know, you can see the difference in Sheath from whenever I got to know you guys to today. Um, and it's exciting. It's exciting being someone that's been there for a while,
Yeah,
and seeing, and then you see like Donald Cerrone posting about you guys. You're like, what in the hell?
I know.
And it kind of seems surreal that you guys are doing so awesome, and there's such a big names now that and I always joke about it. I'm like I have, there's Donald Cerrone sitting there. There's all these other high level people, and then there's
Hmm.
me. And I'm like, at some point I felt like I was involved in like I was like all the other fighters. I'm like, okay, they're pro fighters. I'm pro fighters. I get it. And then at some point, you guys just skyrocketed, and it was so cool to see it too. So it's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, it is exciting. I'm very blessed, and I try to be appreciative every day because it's like my dream kind of coming true. And you know, funny thing is, the reason I sponsor you guys is because I love fighting, and I feel like it's the best sport that exists, but for a reason that it's a great metaphor for life. Just that the training, the fighting, the getting knocked down and getting back up, and how bad do you want to win this motherfucker? And it's just I was I have every weekend almost now, because there's almost fights every weekend now. I have friends over and we're watching it, and I was saying, am I going to get tired of this? It's already been 2 decades since I've been watching, technically since 96 or whatever. um am I going to still watch it in 2 decades? Am I still going to want to be doing this, watching it? But I think I will, because it's like different every time. I don't know. I love it.
No, yeah, for sure, man. It's exciting.
It is. It doesn't get old. Do you guys, how do you treat fighting these days, as far as a fan?
To be completely honest, man, I watched like the bigger events, but I am almost completely out of the world of fighting.
Okay.
Um, moving out here, there's no, I mean, outside of like the law enforcement that I trained a handful of times, I mean, there's really nothing out here. I'm in a city population of 5,000. There's no real gyms, and even if there were gyms, they're all closed nowadays. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
all the fitness stuff I get done is in my own place. I haven't thrown a punch probably in 2 years.
It
you know,
feels good to me though, like I hadn't done it in quite a few months when finally a couple weeks ago I had that kid Dylan King come, and as I was hitting the pads, I was telling him thank you. I was like,
yeah,
thank you for coming, because your body, body movement medicine, just, it maybe it's, I feel like you're doing your thing, but that memory from your body will, like, it almost craves it. Just the
yeah.
motion.
Yeah, no, I was like that for a while. Like whenever I moved to Colorado, I took a year off of everything. I didn't work out for an entire year.
Nice.
Um, and that was this. I was really just giving my body the break I felt like I needed. I've been training since I was 14 years old. So it was like 15 years of hard labor. So for me, like I told you, like my hands, the main thing, my elbows.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would wake up every day when I was fighting and have to like force my arms to go straight because my elbows would like stiffen up and they would lock out.
Wow.
And it feels really good to not have to do that.
And that's where gaming is actually such a beneficial activity for me, because I'm always going, like,
Yeah.
to sit fucking down for a minute and don't do anything for your
Yeah.
body. Let your body chill.
Oh man, it's I think that's the biggest thing. So with fighting, it's almost a relief to not have to do it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like that one day that I went to go train gi, like I was the highest rank in there. They all had gis on. I think the highest one was like a two stripe purple or something. And my ego's involved, because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
guy outside. I come in on the highest rank, so I have to like do my best, and I have to show these guys what's up. And then I output that amount of output, but for like 3 or 4 days after, I was handicapped. You know what I mean? you know because I let my ego get involved. I'm not like trying to hurt anybody, but I'm definitely not going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that that fighting mentality that's always inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And but then your physical body is like, yo, you did this for 15 years. You can't just take a year break and then hit on the gas again.
Oh my
um,
God.
but the one thing I just did not miss feeling like that. I once I felt like that, I'm like, it almost like flooded back. You're like, yeah, this is horrible. This is what I was doing. This was me, what the feeling was like every day. And I just made the conscious decision to be like, okay, I'm definitely, I don't want to feel like that anymore. So I lift weights and I cycle. That's about it right now when it comes to anything athletic.
Okay. I'm doing like these ice baths, and I'm doing Wim Hof breathing techniques, and I'm doing all the shit at the
Dude, I
moment.
like it. The
Yeah.
ice baths like 3 times a week for me because cycling. My
Mm-hmm.
legs get messed up in cycling. But all fighting, I had these chicken legs, so it's nice to put some meat on them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, but the ice baths keep me alive, man.
Okay. Yeah. I just did a ice kind of shower about an hour ago, and I've been doing it pretty much every day. But do you do like real ice and get the whole ice and everything?
Yeah, I have like the ice maker, like it's like a 20-pound bag. So I'll just fill up my bathtub with like the coldest water it can fill, and
Yep.
then throw the ice in there.
Okay.
Let it marinate for a little bit, and
So you
then
have an ice maker thing like in your on your fridge, or what?
yeah. So like the actual like the thing on the fridge is actually like gigantic. So I can probably put 10 to 12 pounds of ice in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll sit for maybe at the most 15 minutes.
Oh, nice. That's a long time. See, I do like 5, 7 minutes but I'm working my way up and working my way down in temperature, because I was just doing straight the coldest water that you can get out of the tap, which in Colorado mountains, it's pretty
It's
fucking
cold.
cold. It's
It's
so
cold.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So adding any, and then, but I have added ice a couple of times, and I'm just gonna kind of, over the years, I want to build my way up to doing like actual maybe not freezing water, but like right there. And
Yeah.
it's good for stress. I find it builds up like stress resistance.
No, yeah, for sure. And not just that, man, the physical task you have to like conquer in your mind to get in that tub.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's a, I mean, that's a win in itself, you know?
Yeah, it is. And the first few times I did it, it was so brutal that, and I was like total shock to my body. But in a way, I was like, this is probably good for my body because it never goes through anything very difficult. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
I
for
live a
sure.
soft life of ease and just 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 no real kind of difficulty. So having that as a man, as a human, through going through striving to just survive over the eons, as the human race, we built up these strengths to survive, and now we live in this comfortable lap of
Yeah, no.
luxury. I don't think it's normal.
No, I think it's good to crave that, you know, and that's half the reason why I got into cycling, you know, because I did so many other things that like fighting was always like not easy, but I was a very like natural athlete when it came to fighting and wrestling. I picked up things really quickly, and cycling I was I felt like I said I have these little chicken legs in fighting. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
could kick fast, but all the power was coming from somewhere else.
Mm,
So when I got on a
totally.
bike, I would die. You know, like I would like even to this day, like
To
if I
this
do my
day,
to this day,
400 years.
these
Just
cycling classes, man, they rip me to shreds. You know, and
on the
yeah,
Peloton.
yeah, man,
And we're
and
at the end. This elevation is no joke.
dude, you know what's crazy, which is maybe a crazy story, maybe to even go into. You know when the wildfire started like 3 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I got caught in the middle of a bike ride. I was in the middle of the
Oh my
wildfire, riding
god.
in fire, man.
Whoa.
It was wild. I did a 45-mile ride that day. I was about 30 miles into it. I did the last 15 covered in black smoke, fire left and right of
Jesus.
me. Um, I
That would
straight
have
up thought
been
I
a
was.
great image. You
Oh,
coming out of the fire, just
dude, you know what, when I got back home, I was like, crap, I got one video of after I was done, but I
hmm.
was like, I genuinely thought I was gonna die
Oh my
because like there
god.
were like I couldn't see. I had to stop in I had a bandana on because I have long hair now, and
Mhm.
I had to dip my bandana in the water, put it over my face. I had sunglasses on to try to. There's ash coming down. I was completely black by the time I got home.
How did that happen? Did it start while you were on your ride or what?
Yeah, so I that trail that I told you about that goes to Eagle. So
Yeah.
I was about halfway done with that trail. I didn't go all the way there and back. I went about 22 miles in, and then about 7-8 miles back on the way back home. I saw like that giant like smoke in the air, and I
Oh.
asked one of the park rangers. I was like, "What's going on? Like, did that just start?" And she just says, "Yeah, we're evacuating the whole area." And I'm on my bike 16 miles away from home,
Wow.
and I on the way back home, I hit 47 miles per hour. I averaged 42 miles per hour, and I was just hauling ass trying to get back home. But
Oh my god.
between where I was, that was in Hanging Lake. I don't know if you know where that is.
No.
Hanging Lake in Glenwood Springs was a 15-mile stretch, and the about 10 miles of that was already engulfed in flames. So when I started to make my ride back home, about like 3 or 4 miles was kind of safe. But I knew my kids were on the other end of it, and I didn't know if Glenwood Springs was evacuating. So I was trying to get back to my kids and my family.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I have options. Do I sit right here where it's safe, or do I push right through this and try to get home to take care of them if they need help?
Wow.
And I guess I just made the decision to haul ass,
Wow.
and like my legs were burnt. My like I had like no hair on the right side of my right leg. All my skin was black. I had trouble
Jesus.
breathing.
That's
Uh,
crazy. Oh my
dude,
god.
it was a mess. That was only like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Is
Um,
it? I mean, I'm looking out of the mountains right now, and it's clearer. I don't know if it's all the way clear because I can still see like a little haze, but I don't know if that's just cloudiness or some. I don't know if it's remnants from are the fires out? Do we
Yeah,
know?
so that was when the fire started. Now that fire that started here is the longest fire in Colorado history to go. They still don't have it contained. They have
Uh,
it 75% contained as of like 2 days ago. Luckily, as it started moving our direction, and then when like I don't know if you got it too, but like a week and a half ago, we got like 2 days of like a little bit of rain.
yeah, we get
uh,
a little bit of rain here and there every day. I mean, not every day, but like we get a lot of rain here actually. But I mean, whatever, like little
yeah,
sprinkles. You know how Colorado is.
yeah, like every day you get like 20-minute showers. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that really helped. So that little amount of rain stopped the. I mean, I had off my balcony. I have videos of planes coming by and spraying that red stuff on the mountains across the street. So
That
we were
stuff
pretty
is
close.
so bad, right? Like for the just environment, that flame
Oh,
retardant stuff.
it was going on for like a week straight. Like
That-
all for 7 days, I could hear planes, helicopters flying over my place, and we were pretty close to evacuating. And we luckily we didn't have to. So and it moved in a different direction because of the wind. So we got real lucky there. We didn't have to leave the house. We didn't have to do any of that. But we were ready. Like we had go bags ready. We had the cars were packed. And that happened. But so it was an experience. I got home. Like, well, the whole point of it is like I literally thought I was going to die in a fire, so I didn't take
Mhm.
any videos. I didn't pull my
Yeah,
phone out.
right.
You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
But when you get home and you're like, okay, I actually survived that. You're like, man, that was really like, even as for me, like riding where everything is red. There was no more sky. Everything was just red and black.
Wow.
And I remember like I have the visions in my head. I'm like, man, I wish I could just maybe I had a GoPro on my bike or
Mhm.
something to capture that because um, it was intense.
I bet it was surreal. Like if your leg hairs are burned, that's insane.
Yeah, it was
Fucking hell.
yeah, and there was fire on the left and right of me. So the left of me was the river. There was a point where I thought I was going to have to get in the river.
Yeah, right. Just like fucking jump off the bike and go get into safety. Oh my God.
Yeah, and luckily the river does run all the way to my house. So I was like, I know if I get in the river, I can at least float this river all the way home if I have to. But I at that point, adrenaline took over, and I was going way too fast on my bike to stop.
Wow. That's pretty
And
cool. I don't know. I mean, in a way, that's the whole, your kids and stuff, and just like you want to make sure that you got to be there if something did go down. You don't want to be,
yeah, and
16 miles away on a bike stranded.
that was the attitude. It's like I don't know if they're evacuating. I don't know if the fire's in Glenwood Springs. I don't know what's going on. And it's like, it was like I don't know. It was a lot of unknown, and I was in a place on that bike trail you have no service. So my wife called me one time, and I got service, and I picked up, and I could hear her, and she was panicked, but I couldn't talk back, and she couldn't hear my voice, and then it hung up on her, and then I had zero service.
Jesus.
I know, man. So I just put my head down and whipped my bandana that I had on, covered my mouth and nose so I wouldn't breathe in the ash, and there were parts where I was holding my breath, man, for like minutes at a time, trying not to breathe the stuff in.
Jesus, psycho.
It was,
Good God, man. That's
yeah, man.
that's intense. But I so because I was kind of like seeing, I don't know if you remember when Donald Cerrone told the story about being in the caves at
Oh yeah, dude.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I was kind of having a moment there with you where you're like riding through the flames, with your life in jeopardy, like he was in those caverns underwater with no fucking tank and nobody
Yeah,
there in the dark.
yeah, it was rough. It was rough, but and I guess that for me, that I'm such like an ego-driven human being that when I got home, and after like 2 hours, I could breathe normally again. I got home and I just got into a cold shower and I just literally like laid down in I have like a stand-up shower, so it's like in glass, and I'm just laying on the floor, like
Oh my
just
God.
trying to like cool down a little bit. And the worst thing is I live on the third floor, but in my complex there's elevators, and because of the fires, the elevators weren't working, and then when I got home, I'm like, oh my God, the elevators aren't working, and I have to go up 3 flights of stairs with a bike in my hand after all that, and it was just a mess. But after it all, I it because how competitive I am with myself, and I did survive it, so I'm like, I'm good. I'm at home. I'm alive. I look at my numbers and I'm like, yo, I had so much more in me. Like I do this trail a lot, and I was like, and I beat my times for each sector, like section of it, and I was like, man, I have so much more in me. What am I doing on all my other rides if that's what I have?
Yeah,
So
but
now,
that was a little bit of a different, like adrenaline
oh,
and
for sure, I
yeah.
couldn't walk for like 3 days after because of my thighs. So
That's hilarious. I mean, that's not hilarious, but I'm glad that you made it because that would have been fucking tragic if I would have heard some bullshit about you burning up in a fire. But it's a
yeah,
much
that would have been rough. It's
happier
hilarious now that
ending.
I'm home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
you know, now it's all cool, but at the time that was a really rough. I was only riding for about 45 minutes in that fire. The whole ride was 3 hours, but
so you
you know,
normally do the six. You do this whole 30 up and 30 back or whatever.
no, I'll do about anywhere from like 40 to 50. So I'll do like 25 in, 25 back.
Ugh, that sounds
Um,
horrible.
dude, it actually isn't bad if you get it. Like if you condition your legs, like because I've been riding for now 4 years. Um, but if you condition your legs enough, it's kind of like anything else, right? It's like the first time that I did wrestling, you're like, this is the hardest thing in the world, and then like
Mm-hmm.
2 years into wrestling, you're like, I can do this. It's hard, but I can do this.
Did you get in a
Um,
zone or anything when you're out there?
so I have it sounds silly, but it really does work for me. They're like virtual cycling instructors that are
Mm-hmm.
pre-recorded for my rides.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't listen to music. I'll listen to instructors coaching me through waves of when I could break in my ride, when do I have to haul ass, when do I, because you have two things: cadence that you keep, which is how fast your legs go,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have like a virtual coach that'll coach me through how fast should my feet be moving, considering the elevation gain, considering the not only the elevation gain when it comes to breathing, but when it comes to actually inclining on your bike.
Mm-hmm.
So for
The
me, that's all I listen.
burns.
Yeah, so I'll listen to somebody coach me through. So if I feel like I don't have anything in me, but the cyclist instructor says your cadence has to be 120, which is fast, then I have to haul ass. So it works for me because I'm a real responsive person when it comes to that. Like if a coach tells me to do something, I don't care if I have to die to do it. I'm gonna figure out a way to do it. And
Exactly. That's some militant shit. You weren't in the military though, were
never,
you?
never, never.
Yay. I mean, what you were telling me about listening to the virtual coach reminded me of probably the very first podcast I ever listened to. It's probably in 2012. I had a Zoom. So this is like 2005. And it was a runner's podcast. And they would run with a coach. You would run with a coach, and they would have this beat. It'd be like, dun, 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 and you're like running to the beat. But then it'd be like, all right, we're about to pick it up, and then the beat would go up, a faster pace, and so you gotta pick it up the pace and then slow it down and all that. So that what you were saying kind of reminded me of that, which I also find helpful, and I'm just surprised I never went back to that.
No, it's something similar on my end too. It's called like a 1-2 count. So if you were to say like 1-2 1-2, that's on every number 1 and 2. Your foot has to be on the downstroke. So
Mm.
if your feet are not moving as fast as that person is saying that 1-2 1-2 or 1-2 1-2 1-2 1-2, then you have to find a different. You have to make sure your feet are matching the beat.
Oh my god, I just swallowed the last bit of my coffee, and I had poured in this cordyceps mushroom stuff from Four Sigmatic. Shout out to Four Sigmatic. In the elevation, they say that cordyceps mushrooms helps you process oxygen.
Yeah,
So just throwing that out there for all you
I
people.
like it, man.
It's weird up here, dude, in the elevation. And now I feel like, because I've only been up here, I was at 6,000 feet in Colorado Springs. Now we're at 9,000 feet. And
Yikes.
yeah. And so living up here in bed, I would be like, during the day, I'm fine. But at night, I don't know. But it feels like the air thins out a little bit. I don't know what's happening. And I
Dude,
was
yeah.
having issues breathing, but I've been doing all this Wim Hof shit, the ice baths really forces you to take, like, like you're trying to breathe through the pain. I mean, for me in the ice baths. so that, those deep breaths, whatever, has really acclimated myself to this area, and now I feel like I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and make sure, because you got to be able to breathe. And the last people that were in this house actually left in oxygen tanks because they're old and smokers, and
Yikes.
so
No, yeah, I didn't think it would be that big of a difference. If Houston's at 0, and then Fort Morgan, where I lived before, was only at like 4,000, and now we're just shy of 7,000 here. But you're even more. You're even more. So it's like,
yep.
it's. I notice it when I work out. But that's about it, really.
Yeah, like sometimes, and it's less and less, because I when I was walk up the stairs to my office here, it's a fucking like a 20-step steep staircase, and every time I'd be like, Jesus, what is wrong with me? I'm just going up the stairs. I'm like an old lady.
That's how I am when I bring in groceries, when the elevator is just on the other end, and I don't want to walk to the other side for the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I was a professional athlete at some point, and I'm over here carrying up bread, and I'm gasping for air.
Yeah. Well, just putting it out there. The cordyceps, and on it has stuff. Those the Shroom Tech Sports. Do you still fuck with on it at all?
On it, not so much. I used to take their Alpha Brain. Right now, I take their Gut Health.
I have both of
But
those.
I have the only supplements I take are I take some meal replacements pre and post workouts, and those are from Purist Labs.
Purist Labs. What is that about?
They're actually a company I found whenever I was fighting. They sponsored me when I was fighting. For me, it works well for me. So it was a company that I was familiar with. So Faber actually connected me to them, and then ever since then, they're a pre-workout that makes me get up and go, and they're a recovery that, at least between the recovery and the ice baths, I'm very rarely sore anymore, for the most part.
Wow. I feel like we could go on for days, because I actually want to ask you more questions, but we are coming up to our time, if you will. And so I would like to ask you, what was your favorite part of this conversation?
For me, dude, this is the second time in about 6 years that we have sat down and just had no plan and just talked. Remember you did the podcast and it was on video, we did way back when?
Yeah.
And that was the first time.
Yeah.
And now this is the second time in all these years. So honestly, I enjoy just not talking about, any kind of deals that we're working, and just talking, like,
yeah.
And it's nice to just step away from the normal talk that we normally have, to just about life and things that we have opinions about and stuff like that. So I think it's nice to sit down. As much as it would be cool to do it on a regular basis, there's something cool about doing it every few years.
Yeah, the build up, and just so much to cover. And
yeah. No, it's good. We need to schedule another one on my end or your end, because I do the same thing on the Twitch channel, but I do it with like streamers and content creators and stuff like that. But that show's live. That show has an audience and all that stuff.
I'll happily join you there. I got cameras and mics and the whole setup, and I would love to have you back, a couple times a year, just to catch up. And seriously though, let's do a consultation at the minimum, like an hour next week, talking about social media, because we're at that level now, and we need to step it up a smidge. And it sounds like, I said, you have done the research, and my team, I feel like they're doing what's been working type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I think we were talking about something like that, just doing what works instead of what was that in reference to?
So I think you're referring to like what I do. Like I social media is like a trend. What was popular 3 months ago is not popular today.
Yeah.
So you have to make content for that trend, and that means you have to know what that trend is to make content for it. So, if the beginning of the year, it was all about memes. You saw memes everywhere, and you still see memes everywhere today, but not as popular as you did, 6 months ago. So like little things like that, and how to implement popular memes into your content or even to your Sheath advertisement. You know what I mean? So what I would do is like, like say you take like a popular video or meme or something, you can take apart that audio and input it into your stuff. So whenever someone sees a video with you and your Twitch channel, but they hear a popular meme that they can relate to, that they relate is funny to them, that video is now funny, So there's like a little bit of a science behind it too, that you can kind of figure out and figure out how to make your content or your Sheath advertisement to cater towards today's audience, on whatever platform you're on.
Yes, and we need to do that, and we'll talk more about that then next week, because we want to just keep putting seeds in their brains to maybe have them try the product.
Oh, for sure. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, and look cool and have fun at the same time. That's what I'd like to do. So it looks like you're having fun. You have a beautiful family, and you're here in a good state. So keep doing what you're doing. We'll keep working together. Thank you for joining me. Thank you everyone for listening. Check him out on David x2. Tell him your social media.
It's on Twitch at twitch.tv/SuperDaveX2, which is me and my son.
Yeah, SuperDaveX2. And he's on Instagram. You can find him through our pages and whatnot. He's in all the stuff. But thank you, David. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I really appreciate it.